You rock, my friends. You Rock podcast is for women like you who want to own your life and live an engaged and joyful life. Hosted by Dr. Aliyah Majid, mom of 3, devoted wife, and a scientist-turned-life coach on a mission to empower women to take control of their lives. In this podcast, we deliver tools, insights, and inspiration on rocking your own life, owning to your highest potential, and becoming the best version of you. Now, here's your host, Dr. Aliyah Majid.
Assalamualaikum and welcome back again to Europe Podcast. And I'm really glad that you are here. If you are new here, remember to subscribe. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about the mistakes that people make in goal setting. What are those biggest mistakes that you can make when you are setting goals? In the reality is that some of us has never ever thought about setting goal each year. So when we are talking about setting goals, or even thinking about what do you want to achieve this year, sometimes there are people who find it weird. I don't know, maybe I was like that before this also in some ways, because I felt like after having kids, I feel like it's not easy to really achieve the goals that I wanted to do each year. But then after learning and really implementing the goal setting system that I have been using over the last maybe 5 years, I realized that it's not as hard as you think. When you are setting goals, there's just some things that you have to be aware of, but really it's just as simple as you taking some time, sitting down and reflect on what do you want to achieve this year. Okay, so yeah, it's easy to say than done. It's easier to say than done because we can expect to have so many things that we want to achieve, that we want to acquire, the places that we want to go, things that we want to have, people that we want to meet, but we only have like 365 days in a year. So how can we manage to achieve all of this? In reality is that you have to really think about your goals like a roadmap in your life, or a compass. So if you don't know where you want to go, you can never get there. Okay, in order for you to really nail down the direction that you want to go, you have to really be clear about this. As I mentioned just now, mistake number 1 is not setting any goal. So it is the most common mistake that everybody do this every year, because they make resolutions. Maybe this year they want to stop eating sugar. Maybe this year they want to start running. Maybe this year they want to read 5 books. These are resolutions, things that they say that they want to create more of. It is a new year and they think that it's a good time to really think about the direction that they want to go. But actually it's just something that it's not going to be a reality if it's not written down and really be clear of it. So are you part of that person who always in a new year you say you want to do some things, or maybe you even list out all of these things that you want to do, but at the end of the year you kind of blaming yourself, or you really feel down because you never achieve any of those things that you want to achieve? So are you that kind of person? In reality, it is normal to feel that way, because it is not something that we have been taught about at all growing up, right? So we don't know how to really set goal that we can achieve. So what does this mean by goal setting and thinking of achieving things that you want to achieve, right? When I say that, is it attainable, it's not means that something that is too easy, in like for the next week you will achieve it, and that's end of it. So that's not a goal that is really exciting or something that will stretch you, right? Really, when you set your goals, that's why this episode is totally about you who are wanting to prepare, going into the new year, and think about how can you set better goals, right? I salute you. The first step is actually to sit down and set that goals. Okay. The number two mistake will be if you are making that goals too easily attainable. When you set things that you know in your heart that you can achieve it, it's easily achievable. It is not something that you can really be excited about throughout the year, or throughout at least the next 6 months, the next 3 months. So set goals that is for yourself, and to be really think about what are the cool things that you think, if you can do it, or if you can achieve it, would be meaning that this year will be a best year for you. So think about what are those things. When you are first time thinking about this, maybe you might need some time to really think about what are those things, because growing up and then get married and then you have kids, we as a woman, we always put ourselves last. So sometimes it's not easy for us to think about what actually that we want to do. Okay, apart from hustling, apart from creating more money, finding money, and really be responsible, or doing all those things that are required of us. So put some time aside, and maybe out from your current routine and environment, to really reflect back on what would be a best 2022. I always found myself, when I set a goal that is easily attainable, I will lose motivation really easily, because it is not like going to push me and going to make me work harder to get it. And midways, I'll become bored of it, because maybe it doesn't push me out of my comfort zone, and that will makes me like really excited about pursuing it. So remember, when you are creating your goal, thinking about all of the domains of life, make sure you are excited to really achieve all of these goals that you have put for yourself. So if it is not something that you really want to do, maybe not right now, you can put it in your some dailies, and that some dailies would be really something that I recommend to all of you, because it maybe not this year, maybe next year. Inshallah, it's gonna be a reality soon. The main thing here is for you to be really focused on what you want to achieve this year. Next mistake will be forgetting to set deadlines. If you are one of those people who like to make resolutions and creating these statements of wanting to achieve something, but then you don't really put any deadlines on it, there's a higher chances that you will not really achieve them, because not using deadlines can result in a lack of a productive mindset. You do not make any progress on it. Okay, and when you don't put a deadline on it, eventually it becomes your last priority in your life. The end of year, coming December, that's when you realize that, oh my gosh, you already have these 12 months, and what are the progress that you have made in the things that you want to really achieve this year. So that's when you start to become overwhelmed, and it's not because you don't really think about wanting to get it in a new year. It's because you don't put any deadline on it, and because of that, you don't feel the urgency and the importance of getting it done when you should have made a progress in the past 12 months that you have. As an extension of setting deadlines for your goals, not setting aside time every day to work towards them also sets your progress back. Okay, when it comes to goal setting and managing the progress, you have to really be conscious to make time in your schedule every day, so that you move forward with your goal. you're probably thinking that setting time aside to work towards your goal on top of everything you've already have on your to-do list seems impossible, but it's really not that complicated. In fact, whatever you've already got planned for your day already fits into your goal schedule because it functions as a part of the bigger picture. So, say you are working on a project at work. If you are working on the project at work and you have this goal that you want to achieve, writing down how long it takes to complete each project during that day along the way helps you to keep tab on how much daily time you've actually devoting to achieving your goal too. Meaning that making sure that you have at least put aside some time every day, block that out to make sure that the goal that you have is also prioritized into your daily schedule. Yeah, the key takeaway here is that to view this mistake as an opportunity to grow. Okay, you're not, like adjusting your schedule so that you can cram everything in your schedule. You are changing your mindset to include a conscious effort to track what you've already doing to attain your goals and how it affects your time and your time management. Moving forward, you must have this clear goal, as I mentioned before, this because it becomes your roadmap. The reason that you are overwhelmed with so many things to do every day is because you are not clear about what is your goal that you want to achieve actually. So when this happen, when you are getting overwhelmed with people pulling you in so many other direction, you start to second guess yourself and you don't know where to prioritize. But taking this time off, taking this end of year as a time to reflect back on where do you want to go in your life, making really conscious effort moving forward is really the key to taking control back of your life and crushing the dream that you already have in your mind. So if you hear that sounds in the back, it's my kid asking for another food. Yeah, they are here now because it's a school holiday and this is a time for them to get a bit manja-manja sikit lah with me. Right? Because school holiday, I don't want to push them too hard and they have already, in Japanese we call it gambata, means that they have already, what we call it, dah berusaha dah berusaha dalam bahasa Malaysia kan, throughout the year, right? As I mentioned again and again, we this year we moved from Japan to Malaysia and there's so much transition that happened in my life and my kids' life, but we are all making progress in the direction that we want to go, inshallah, this year. And we are really excited to look forward for 2022 and see what's will grow together as a family. And alhamdulillah, I'm proud to say that when we are really taking this, committed to the goals that you want to achieve, and as a family unit, and be really focused and supporting each other and holding us accountable for what we want to achieve for the next year, we will be more motivated as opposed to be lonely alone to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. So for example, this morning, I know my kid, my son, my 8-year-old son loves to play Roblox, and he has been talking about how he wants to create the game. Actually, I don't really know what's the term that they use about, but what he's saying is that he wants to create the game instead of play the game, So I tell him that he have to start to learn about programming, and because being a background in engineering, and I say to him about this programming, the C languages and whatever that he have to do. And when I started to talk like that, I found that he kind of get overwhelmed. Of course, he gets overwhelmed with these things that I'm mentioning, because he cannot even imagine what are these all these things that I'm telling to him. As an 8-year-old, he could not really digest what's the next step that he have to take in order to go towards that direction. But the at least he have the vision that where he wants to go, at least for the meantime, for right now, right? So being a coach, being a person who likes to motivate people to go after the dream that they have, of course I will support my kids decision on what's the things that they want to do. So this morning I mentioned to him that, okay, what's the thing that he thinks that he knows he can start to do right away, right now. I mean, for the next 3 months, what is it in that session? Because this is the thing that he thinks he wants to do. And we sit down, have a chat like about 30 minutes, and really came out with a plan. I mean, that's the first time that I do this goal setting thing, goal setting um, session with my own kid. And I'm really proud of him for really thinking about where he wants to go for the next 3 months, meaning that he started to see uh, time of the day and start to see the picture in the future, and he wants to inshallah make it a reality. And I sit down with him, I suggested, I mean, we come up with a plan and the deadline, and what's the next action that he have to take. And then his attitude kind of changed immediately. Instead of thinking that these things is something that I asked him to do, when the reality is that he's the one who wants to do it, right? So instead of that, because he have put it, I mean, he have sit down and really think about what is the actions that he have to do, he have to take next in order to move towards the dream, the goal that he wants to achieve. So yeah, so that's just a side note about how I try to incorporate this kind of mindset mentality about really pushing this goal setting as a roadmap in our life, as also a motivation to push us forward when we don't know what to do next, when we don't have the direction, a clear direction, meaning that you don't have a clear roadmap. So start to clarify what those are, and really take time and think about what's the cool thing that would be good for you to start doing next. It's not necessarily being things that people ask you to do, but really things that you want to do and the skills that you want to pursue next. Maybe whatever hobby that you want to pursue next, and making those a reality. But of course, in goal setting, you have to also remember to have this personal change, the personal growth, self-development, and making sure that you move at least 1% towards the direction, the positive direction, right? So make that conscious effort, because if you don't consciously take this continuous self-development thing, you'll notice that over the time, instead of becoming better at something, at managing your life and so on, you start to realize that why is this negative thinking started to creep up in your life, and why is it like you cannot handle it anymore, because the reality is that you haven't put aside some time to learn things for your own self growth. So that's just some tips and some of the mistakes that I've seen over and over again in this period of time, in these new year events, when people are trying to, new year, new me kind of mentality. But the reality is that you don't change in one day, you change over the course of 365 days. Okay, so that being said, okay, so my question for you is that how can you make progress in the goal that you have written down every day? That's all for today. Come back again in next week's episode. And remember to start your day with intention, love what you do, and end your day with gratitude. I'll see you next week. Assalamualaikum. Are you struggling to find time for yourself or for things that matters to you? Or if you even ever find some time, you found that you can't simply slow down and stop thinking about work. If you are one of those women, you'll benefit from the Success Accelerator program, my 12 weeks one-on-one success and productivity coaching program that helps you to do less and get more work done so that you can spend more time doing things you love. Book a free call with me at draliamajid.com/coaching, or you can do a self-assessment using my free life audit workbook at draliamajid.com/life audit. Or you can even join my Facebook group from the link below. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.